Hey y'all, it's Katie. I hope everyone's doing well today. Today we are going to be talking about the 11 tropes that I think are the worst. Now these are going to be in no particular order, but this first one is definitely the one that I hate the most, and that is love triangles. Love triangles just frustrate me so much. They make me feel like the characters are immature or they don't care about the people in their lives because they're willing to make them not know if they truly care about them or not. And I don't like the idea of oh, I'm just gonna pick one of you, and I feel like that would be really detrimental to me. If somebody was like, I'm not sure if I want to be with you or this other person, I love you both, and I have to pick, that would make me feel so bad about myself, and it would make me not like that person. That would be it. I'd be like, oh, you know what, I'll make that decision for you. So kind of the fact that love triangles keep going on just baffles me. The only thing I hate more than a love triangle is a double love triangle, wherein the two characters both have other people that they want to be with, and it could have been resolved so easily. There didn't need to be a love triangle. They could have both gone with the other person, but no. Next up on my list, I have the mean bad boy who treats everyone poorly, but she can change him trope. I'm all for character change, and I love when bad people realize that what they're doing is wrong. That's great in a book, but I don't like the way that these are set up. I don't like that the male figure in these kinds of scenarios always treats their love interest really, really poorly and in a really bad way. And then often once they do eventually get together, they're very overpossessive. And I don't like the whole thing. This is just a very problematic trope to me because especially when young girls are reading this, they go out into the world thinking oh, I can change these people that are doing bad things, or I can change this boy that doesn't care about me or anyone. And that's a very dangerous mindset to go out thinking that you can fix that. This goes along very well with my next trope, which is the fixing someone who has issues trope. This trope frustrates me on so many levels because you can't fix someone else. The only person that can fix anyone is themselves. And this is with mental illness, this is with recovering from traumatic events, this is with being a horrible person. And of course, you can be there, if you love someone and they're having something like this, you can be there for them and you can encourage them, but you can't fix them. That's not a thing, especially if they're mentally ill. They don't need to be fixed. They need to feel better. They need to heal, and that's something that you can't do for them. No one can do that, and even if you could, you would become their crutch that if you walked away or if they walked away from you, they couldn't live without. And it's no one needs to fix anyone, especially not in YA literature where young impressionable people are going to read it and just wait for someone to come and fix them when they feel bad about themselves. The next trope on my list really just frustrates me in the fact that it's so unrealistic kind of, and just heartbreaking. And this one is lifelong friends being replaceable. I mean, this goes for in the case of love triangles or not. It normally happens where our protagonist has this person that's been by their side their whole life, but something's happening and they don't tell them, and someone else can understand it better, and then they skip off into the sunset because this person wasn't there for them, but they didn't give them the chance. And normally, I don't know, I just don't like the idea that they can just throw away someone who's been there for them for years, who's loved them for years. Obviously, love triangles complicate this, and in a lot of dystopian type books, a lot of things are going on, so it's more difficult to kind of maintain that friendship, but I think a lot of times they're really just thrown away, and our protagonists move on, and it just makes me really upset because I don't think that's how it works. I don't think that you can walk away from friends that you've had your whole life without it hurting, because it does hurt. I think we've all had that experience, and I'm really tired of seeing it portrayed like this in literature. I want people to stay friends, or if something happens to where they can't stay friends, I want them to be upset about it. It's not, you can't slip on new friends like a pair of shoes and feel fine about it. Actually, maybe that's a good example, because when you wear new shoes, you have to like break them in and they hurt your feet at first, like you're in pain at first. So maybe, yeah, they're shoes, and when you get new ones, it hurts. This next trope is just drives me crazy, and it's so prominent in books and movies and fan fiction, and I'm really tired of it, and that is the cheerleader bitch slut who might be the male love interest's ex, but all around is just mean to everyone and gets with everyone, and is just the horrible person that makes high school a nightmare. And partially it's because like it's very stereotypical, and like it's annoying that it's every single time it's somebody mean in the hallway, let's take a bet, I bet it's gonna be a cheerleader. But also just because it's so overdone and tired. Like, pick someone else to be your bad guy, pick someone else to be your mean person, pick someone else to be your boyfriend's ex-girlfriend who wants to make your life miserable. This is so, it's so worn out. Why? Like, there are a million different other groups in high school. There are a million different other individuals that you could pick. You could pick someone not in high school. Like, you have the world. The world is your oyster for mean characters. And yet, every single time, it's this one group, and I want to rip my hair out every time I hear it. It's honestly so specific. Like, I can quote it word for word. Like, you can just hear it coming. A super high-pitched voice shrieked at me down the hallway. She approached, wearing a very, very low-cut shirt, a very, very short skirt, makeup caked on her face, and heels in school. Like, can you not, like, literally come up with something new? Next on my list is one that I think has been echoed around the YA community a lot recently, and that's the Insta skills or knowledge or whatever it is. Obviously, with things like raw power and like raw control and things like that, like that's something that you can have as soon as you find out that you have that power. Like you can just like whoosh and do something. But being able to harness these abilities or this knowledge or whatever skills it is and defeat someone who has been wielding them for decades or centuries is just totally impractical and really annoying. You don't just wake up one day and find out that you have the ability to do something and suddenly you're better than Galbatorix. Like, it's something that takes you a while to work up to if you're going to be able to defeat someone who has a lot more knowledge, skill, and practice than you do. You have to practice too, and this is something that does not happen enough in our literature. Next up on our list of tropes, we have breakup makeups. This is so annoying, and you see a lot more in contemporaries because that's just the way it is, but we kind of have this dynamic where you wait for ages and the characters finally get together and then they break up again. And then they reconcile their issues and then they have a miscommunication and break up again. And then they get back together and no, if I wait all this time for these characters to get together, let them be together for a little bit before you mess it up. Or don't mess it up every 2 seconds. I think a lot of times this can be impractical too, because you have these characters who are like so close and tell each other everything, but they just happen to not communicate the one thing that would lead to them getting in a fight. Or they get in a fight and like one person just hasn't told the other person the explanation, but still they don't tell them because the other person's mad and their pride is more important. Or the one person doesn't trust the other person's version of the story, like they find out from something else and like their love interest is like, no, but this is what really happened, I didn't betray you, and they don't believe them, and this is just not good. Like, if you don't believe your significant other when they tell you something on like regularly, that's not a good relationship. You should be able to trust the person that you're with. If you don't want, like, if you're keeping things from your significant other because you're worried about how they'll react or you think your pride is more important, like for a long period of time, that's not a healthy relationship. Obviously, things happen and people break up every day in real life, and it totally makes sense for them to break up in books. But if they're gonna break up, I think it would be better for them to break up for good reasons that make sense and don't feel strung out and just beyond frustrating as a reader. And I think that they should be demonstrating healthy relationships, or if they're breaking up for unhealthy reasons, they shouldn't get back together. This next trope pisses me off on a level like no other. I wrote an entire Odyssey article for my school on how much I hate these words. And that is the not like other girls trope. This is so stupid. First of all, like saying you're not like other girls as though every single other girl on the planet has the exact same characteristics. What the fuck? No. This is so demeaning to all of the other girls on the planet, so demeaning to all of the other women and girls in your own life, like it's you don't respect them or your character doesn't respect them. And it's really hilarious how every single protagonist that's not like other girls is not like other girls in the same way. Oh, I don't have curves and my hair just falls straight and my eyes are so pretty and it's not blonde like other girls and my eyes are plain brown and I'm just so different and I'm not pretty like them, but all the guys follow me around in the hallway, so clearly I must be pretty. Literally, these words just piss me off so much because of the fact that they're like unrealistic. Like, there's no possible way for all other girls to not embody the traits that you have, and also for framing it in a bad way, but mostly just because it's dumb and overused. Like, all of our protagonists are not like other girls. They're special, and that's annoying. You can be like other girls. Being like other girls is not a bad thing. Like, maybe you're a tomboy, and that's cool. And there are other girls who are tomboys. Or maybe you like the color pink, and before you go kill people, you want to paint your nails. And that's cool too, Selena Sardofian. It's just so annoying that this is still so prevalent. Like, I've been reading this trope since I don't even know how long, and it made me so afraid to be like other girls. Like, it makes me mad that every single person I know is afraid to say if they like the color pink or if they like glitter until they get to like the age of 18 and realize that that's totally fine and that's not cool. That's something that we need to take out of our media. This is so stupid and demeaning. The next trope on my list is probably one that a lot of people like, especially if you are a person who likes love triangles, but for me, this makes me cringe. And that is the dead but not dead first love interest. We've seen this in so many books, especially in trilogies, where in the first book or in the first part of a book, your protagonist falls in love with this person and they're super duper great, and then something happens and they die, and then like your character is recovering and finally they recover and then they let themselves start to fall in love with someone new, but then love interest number one comes back and oh my god, does this drive me crazy. It's just so frustrating, and I get that it makes the plot fun and interesting and like ooh, and it's very angsty, but like, I'm so tired of it. I hate that like every time somebody, like a love interest dies in a book, I'm like, wait, but like, are they dead? Do I get to like ship her with this person or not? Because like, I might ship her with person A if it's one of the two, but if person A is gone, I want to ship her with this person. And it's just so frustrating. Like, I'm so tired of this kind of angst where the person has been trying to do the right thing all along, but for some reason it doesn't work out in their favor. And normally when person A comes back, they'll be like upset that they've moved on, which also frustrates me because like, you were dead, which is hard. And this trope is awful. Our penultimate trope today is going to be miscommunication. Specifically, book-long miscommunication. Miscommunication is a very real thing, and it happens with friends, in relationships, and with families every single day in real life, all the time. And that's fine, like that's real. But almost nothing grinds my gears like having an entire book where these two characters aren't speaking because something got lost in translation, or one of them is hiding the truth about the thing, about why they broke up the entire time. No, stop it. If you're gonna break up or be mad at each other or whatever, cool, do it, your choice. but like do it for like good reasons, give each other the reasons, make sure that everybody on board knows the truth. Everyone deserves to know the truth. I'm just really tired of, especially with trilogies, having an entire book where two people that we love and want to like be happy with each other, even if they're just gonna be happy as friends, like whatever, are literally just not even speaking because of one little thing that they're not telling each other or that got spoken wrongly. And our final trope for today is a little bit more PG-13, and that is when there is a player who has gotten around and like done all this stuff, and then they start dating this new person, and this new person is a virgin and they've never had a relationship before. It's cool to not have had a relationship if that's your prerogative. Like, go you. And it's totally fine if you have or have not had sex before. Like, either one of those, whether you are the person that's had a lot of interactions with a lot of people or if you've never done anything with anyone, like, both of those are totally fine and totally your choice. But I don't like that virginity is being eroticized and like something that's cool and like, oh, like you've never been with anyone but me and I like that, when that person has been with everyone. Like, that's not okay. Like, we don't need, virginity is like a social construct, and if that means something to you, that's cool, and if it doesn't, that's cool, but like it doesn't need to be used as like a relationship furtherer. It doesn't need to be seen as something that's attractive because it can be your love interest. Like, you can't possess it because someone else hasn't been with anyone but you, and I really don't like that, and I don't like seeing it in fiction for young people, especially for like young girls and young guys who are so impressionable and might think, oh, like this is what I'm supposed to do, or like, oh, like I should get with a guy who wants this, or I should do this because then I'll have experience, or whatever it is. That is it for the tropes I hate the most. Honestly, I probably missed a few. Let me know if any of these y'all agree with, or if there's any that you think I should have included. Have a good one.